My name is Ethan Neal and I'm the Food Systems Manager for Pillsbury United Communities. And we're here on Franklin Avenue here in Phillips, Minneapolis. Phillips is one of the most diverse neighborhoods, not just in Minneapolis, but the entire Midwest. We have the largest urban Native American population. We have a growing East African population and a Latinx population that's been here for years. Food access is a challenge for a lot of our communities, and here in Phillips, we're a part of that as well. And what really birthed our community meals program was the 1918 flu epidemic, when people were stuck at home, when there were so many people dying that they were delivering food to widows at their homes. And that's really what launched our meals program back in 1918. So 102 years later, we're still doing that, but it looks a lot different because we're bringing this food work into the 21st century. Since March 17th, which is when we closed officially for COVID, we have been continuing our service, especially our meals program and our food shelf. We've actually moved our entire operation from our food shelf into the gymnasium. We started seeing such an influx in the amount of people that we were serving that we had to stretch our legs and utilize what's considered one of the largest properties in Minneapolis Parks and Rec, that we were actually to move in here and take over half the gym to serve our people. So when you think of a food shelf, you think of a traditional food shelf model that's really based on canned food drives. Folks really going into their cupboards and donating whatever they have in their cupboards that might be expired, it might not have a label. And I can promise you, because of the canning system, it's gonna be chock full of salt and sodium. And that really exacerbates every health condition that we find in the communities in which we serve. Diabetes, hypertension, heart disease, a lot of these things are food-related illnesses. And if you are literally trying to make things work and make ends meet, and you're relying on the nonprofit food industrial complex that is very typical that we see throughout this country, then you're gonna be eating a lot of canned food that's all about shelf stability. And yes, you're looking behind me that we are always gonna be a part of that. We're gonna partner with Second Harvest and the food group to make sure that we're bringing in these staple commodities for our communities. But as Pillsbury United, we've also pledged a lot of our dollars in our budget into sourcing healthy, culturally specific foods to serve our communities. Right now, we're at the Community Cafe at the Wade House in the Phillips Community Center, a place that used to be home to hundreds of people coming to get a free community meal every single day. And since COVID, since that March 17th date, we've been closed and operating our meals as an entirely to-go service. One of the things I look forward to most about the end of COVID and being able to reopen is be able to sit down here and share a meal with our neighbors once again. This is where we can really bring in a lot of our food work and our urban ag. We really have a high goal of trying to incorporate as much of our own farm fresh food as possible into our cafes. And the beautiful thing about here was it was a place for people to have connection and build community around food. But until it's safe for everyone for our community, we serve a lot of elders, a lot of people with disabilities, a lot of the unhoused, a lot of people that are on fixed incomes that come here. So we got to be really thoughtful about what that programming looks like in the future in 2021. Right now, we are in the backyard in what we call the backyard farm of the Wade House. This is where a lot of the food for our cafe comes from. We believe in farm to table for all. Something about eating healthy is a lot of people are priced out of that. And in our community cafe especially, we believe that if that is what you want to do, that you should have the right to healthy, organic, local food. And part of that is just to de-bourgeois the concept of farm to table. It's something that's become so price exclusive. It's become something for the upper classes to have and that the lower classes don't get an opportunity to participate in. And we don't believe in that. And that's an important part of our urban farming, where we can help provide that food, not just through our cafes, but through our food shelves as well. And it's all done through partnerships. Partnerships with United Way, for example, that help support our food shelves with the dollars that we can then invest in that healthy food. It happens with our partnerships with the Cargill Foundation that's been a huge supporter of our farming, including our hydroponic farm. So we always like to say that our work is really at the confluence of emergency food and emergent food, and that everyone gets to participate in that.